And as always, we bring people them. They can always come for help with ship. Tonight, I have John Colker, we are the Executive Director for Fumble Talk International. John, good evening and welcome to Evanson.
Good evening, viewers, and thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll get Anne-Marie F. King, the founder and Executive Director for Catania Women's Development Association. You're also the double as an activist and a human rights defender. Anne-Marie, good evening and welcome.
Fumble, good evening, AYV.
Right, we also get with us Sheka B. Mansari Jr. Sheka an activist and a vocal civil rights campaigner. Sheka, good evening and welcome to.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we do apologize for the absence of Dr. Charles Silva. We before also join this panel tonight for the conversation go before, but always to una with the follow we on with different social media platforms, especially those of you on the AYV News Facebook page. Drop your comments, ask your questions, share with us your thoughts. We'll find time to go through some of the messages on that particular platform. First off, John, let me start. What's now your assessment? Now, we don't go to the polls on June 24th. We don't vote in the different people, the president. We don't vote for members of parliament, councillors, chairpersons, mayors. One, them we belong to other political parties. Don't go on for take up their offices. The president, we don't see, he subscribed to the oath the very day the results were announced. We also see members of parliament for the SLPP, one opposition member, Honorable Mohammed Bangura from the APC, paramount chiefs, they don't subscribe to the oath, they don't go on with them for sitting, to the point that we don't even see a date out for the state's opening of parliament, which will be August 3rd by the president. But the opposition, APC, continues for old and stance, say we are not going to participate in any form of governance. What's your assessment based on all of these political, how would I put it, political wahala we were faced with at this point as this country?
Yeah, thank you very much, Samuel. Good evening, viewers again. And I believe this is not a concern to we all in Sierra Leone. But make a response to the question in terms of my assessment.
Sure.
I go say it depends who that you talk to.
Right.
You know, trust me, when you travel, go to the market, you go down St. John. It's as if everything a business as usual. Election done, we move on.
Right.
You go upline, you go places. You know, we all just want to get on with life and move on. But the reality is, we still get issues there where we hope say, go be resolved. But the question where other person go ask, what's the issue really?
Right.
What's this issue? Because when a national system, then they exist. If you get any issue where you need some redress, say for go. But you choose not for good, and then what else? You choose for boycott. Me, they continue for appeal to the leadership of the All People's Congress that made them see reason and made them see this particular period in history as an opportunity for make Sierra Leone, make we press reset. Make the country press reset in terms of that winner take all. President Bio don't reach out. We notice some diplomacy they go on behind the scene. But we just want to remind them, say, this is not a unique opportunity. That winner take all situation, make us forget about that. There is a role for opposition, may then carve out the role for opposition moving forward. There is a role, of course, for the ruling party, it's clear. But again, they all together work together. Not so like for say, because you lose, you not get nothing for 5 years. Then get in them for do. Make them come up with the shadow report. Make them look at what in them for do. Make the governing party also create ways them for make the opposition feel say they can breathe. They can do their work, free and fairly. So as much as possible, I think I go back to the leadership of both political parties that, look, this is an opportunity for make. We press reset. If the issues the way APC they raise, okay, we're not look into them. If not issues the way what for make we look at any amendment, make we look at that moving forward. But make not just dismiss everything and move on. But the reality is, the government, they move on. Things, they happen. We'll not get any bad news of any sanction it, and we hope that not going to happen, because if that happen, now added pressure to the ordinary Sierra Leonean. So we appeal to the leadership of APC, SLPP, until one day we don't elect, may not just sit down, they look up to the leaders there, but may they make suggestions to them, say, look, we don't come in, but we get a role for play. What will happen? How will continue with this impasse? So basically, it's more or less an appeal to both parties that, SLPP no thing to say, you don't win, you lock everything now, it's only SLPP. APC nothing to say because you lose, you not participate at all. There's room, go parliament, raise issues. Sometimes just raise issues for the record. But I believe there's a role for everybody, and I appeal again, as I say, to the conscience of the politicians, them make them give you the space, make life go on. That ordinary man a treat. Election done. It just want to move on.
John, just before we apparently we come for look at the national level as we talk about reconciliation, elections are done with, and we need to come together and see how each player can contribute to the governance and development landscape. Now we go back at the local, then we community level. Then you and your organization done the work very closely at the community level, interfacing directly with community people and see how reconciliation takes place at those levels. There, during the elections, prior to the elections, during and after the elections, we received concerns that, at some community level, there are intimidations, there are people where they don't even left their villages and all of that. Now, how, if those concerns are still there, how do we address those concerns at those levels? So, at the end of the day, when we come at the national level, we not say all the alpha fruits that we push everything don't be handled.
You see, basically, the concerns will be at the local level now as a result of the social media hype. Most of what be the go on at the village, at the community, district, chiefdom level, not just social media hype. But me, I believe as a Sierra Leonean, the people of Sierra Leone demonstrate to the world that we can get an election peacefully. I believe, up to the polling day, few days after the polling day, Sierra Leone will flag go right up to the whole world. Because people will expect, we'll get conflict. After Kuskas or Wahala go day. But no, the people of Sierra Leone show themselves. The only issue now is between the political parties. And I believe the SLPP, APC, may they resolve them. The government for continue for do in your business as a government. But the political parties there, may them go back to the drawing board and see what thing they get right and what thing they not get right. But of course, I'm not going to talk about civil society.
Right.
Most of us would do so. Some people will go argue, say, now the reckless attitude of some civil society people and bring it to Usa would do so. Some go argue that way.
Right.
Others go say, well, civil society they try for reclaim their glory. Now that means they try for do things, and maybe some go say, well, they overdo them. But basically, it depends who that you talk to. But civil society, we self get an opportunity for press reset. This attack, defend. You go on social media, they go cause this person. You go and cause, but even when they come here today, I hesitate. Say, because anything you say wrong in the ears of another person, they label you differently. You say something right in the ears of another person, you say, well, this now all day. But how we before say things as they are? But again, somebody get for do that. Sure. But civil society press reset. The people of Sierra Leone don't already press reset. They don't say for the next 5 years, then they move on and wait for the next election. But CSO, for make we play we role effectively, we need for press reset, we need for bridge with small divisions then, make we see what we can do collectively. And of course, the APC and SLPP, they self need for go back to the drawing board, may they evaluate. SLPP be the hope for win by a landslide, but then get 56%. We're also, not a message. So APC then get what they get. Then say, may they go back to the. So basically, I think say, as politicians, as political parties, may they go back to the drawing board, may they see how they can serve we. Me just look forward to cooperation. I mean, I know I talk too much, but I look forward to cooperation for the new and young cabinet ministers then. Our appeal to every Sierra Leonean. The political issues then, APC, SLPP, they go on. But make we, for once, make we give the young generation an opportunity for make them demonstrate what they can do for Mama Sierra Leone. We always they say, na the big one there, na the big one there. President Bio don't take a huge risk by putting all this burden on the shoulders of young people. So they therefore live up to that expectation. Let's work with them. Let's give them the support. Forget about political parties. Then get a new issue for resolve. Then go resolve and na the drawing board. Then go na the boardroom. So something will go on. But the ordinary political party supporters, life will go on. Make we see what we can do. Any opening there for make you get a job, go get a job. I'm so happy that there is this task force now on jobs creation. Make them bring APC on board. Make them help with their own sense for great jobs. It's more or less now one Sierra Leone we all get.
Right.
Make we all work together. Thank you.
All right. Anne-Marie, first off, make I hear you from you. At some point when the president was advised that we need to go with the proportional representation electoral system, people say, oh no. Others argued that it's not a better system for, if you take into consideration democracy, where we've come from, also how the plan for go. Others argue, say, no, it brings inclusivity. In fact, it will give women more representation. Now we went to the polls on June 24th. We come out. Results announced. Parliament alone get 41 women them we then elect. Is that anything to be proud of as a nation?
Again, and as soon as they listen, this is a very sensitive and critical situation who they talk about now this evening. Even myself, when I come or throughout, we don't go around. Now, Tonkolili, districts, Bombali, all over the country, we deal with one network where they call community, Movement for Community-Led Development, now international network, where through one village partner, then they help we for go around for before elections, for talk to people then so that they will get peace. I believe so we contribute for where the election be peaceful. And still we they talk. And when we go around, we say we don't get a lot. Like my brother talk, still some half problem they, grudges then they. But for me, as a woman, I'm really glad for them woman them. Although the PR system, we they see where people then grumble say, help the independent candidates them. Even some woman them we then go independent. They say none of them are able to succeed by this PR system. So then some man they get grudge for that. But on the whole, for the fact safe, inside this year 2023, from the beginning, 22nd January, where the President Bio being there for really make this 30% quota for be a reality, I really appreciate that as a woman. But on the whole, we still talk to them, the both parties, because now then two parties there, now the more now the problem or now everybody they look to now this country because APC get beaucoup supporters, SLPP get beaucoup supporters. So yes, the other party then they say now people then Sierra Leonean, they're very important, but more or than two party there. So and for APC sit down and not they work or they not join the parliament because we don't come up and then system there when a one party system. The country or the world don't civilize. Then day plus now it different. So myself, I join my brother for talk to both parties. You wait on day if welcome the other. because we all know say defeat it hurts. But if you don't encourage the other person, yourself, if you know the day, and everybody don't accept say na so. Though when we go to some people like we go na Bumbuna, Ubinge forget meeting at the court bar day, some of them young people then come and cases them in there, we then take to the police. With intervention, it be really helpful. So Ubinge for no say, some people they may not plan other thing against their company, but through we intervention and the police themselves, it give them more courage, because they say, if we they talk about peace, we're not going to talk about peace without justice. There's a lot of talk about justice. And as my brother don't talk, that in a political party to party business. But we want this country here for let continue for be at peace, especially for we the woman them and picking them. Because if something happen tomorrow, now woman and picking them, now they affect. And I want to tell Sierra Leoneans then thank you, because really people that they expect say this particular election could scarce me for take place, but through God in power and through all the message like we family talk they na also then say they go around at their own areas there, because one person not able to do all. So through that thing and they, everybody, I tell you, me I hope on the election, and we have been there. The people, even when rain they come, they stand under the rain for let their voice be heard. So I really glad for the woman them, where the president don't consider for bring more women on board, especially that young lady, the youngest parliamentarian, na woman. Yesterday we did some sign at Kitom. We been go on this U.S. Embassy alumni program. We go na their slum areas there. So we did it. We did talk to them. And I can't find out say na they the lady in family then they say na Kintom, this youngest lady we then call na parliament, we don't win, we don't become a parliamentarian.
Sia?
Not the minister.
Yeah, minister.
The minister of communications.
Young lady, the
right.
youngest. Na Kintom a family host. They are see the host yesterday where they show we. So I'm glad for women them, because from 30%. We they go up small. But still, we they talk to the president, we they talk to APC, we they talk to all the people that way, then they let them see reason, make them come together for address the issue. The one there who say justice for them, let them try for bring that justice there, let the justice play, and let we continue for move.
Alma, you mentioned earlier, say you work with the EMBs, the election management bodies, them during the elections. And almost 1 month ago, we went to the polls as a nation.
Yes.
I mean, from June 24th to now, almost 1 month. But the country still gets governance challenge. But firstly, I want to also ask you about waiting at some of the challenges them. We know the fight and we see how government's commitment to pushing women forward don't be bold. What were some of the challenges during the elections? During the elections, where women them go through? Because now we see whether or not the Electoral Commission for Saloni CSL, then they receive reports and recommendations how for better the system so that we're able for the perfect, the structures as we go along. The police also, they receive reports and recommendations, then PPRC, ONS, the judiciary. So what were some of the challenges where women have been faced during the elections? So we go able to put them out there, the institutions that are responsible, go better prepare for next elections.
Well, some of the challenges then we, especially in the area where me been there, now that's we don't compete women there. Some of them they say the woman then they not go deliver accordingly. Then some women they still get that mentality say if woman be leader, it will be forcey and all the rest of it. But with education, it go change. Then the other thing again, some man they still feel say woman them for DBN, few man them. And during this election, we see, like me, I don't see much of them challenges them, like the area we meet there. we are really like a lonely soul. Because I've been in them 5 stations, them na Grassfield, and also na Malamayanda, na about 2 stations, them in Dede, na Thompson Drive, then also na Penta Kamayama, all the side and I see the only thing so woman them being like a way them they push. One of the challenges that the people they're so eager for come votes on the rain. So woman and picking them in Dede, na kumbra them. So during that time, it not be easy for the police then and try for actually for address or for try for control. But like some man, the young man, the way they can get strength. So when they can they force themselves for open the doors. And when they open, like one woman, it be nearly faint, where they be pusher. So it na be a challenge that. And like some of them, where they get speaking them, they be want for turn back because they say they not be able. But really, people them in talk to them. We say they talk to the police them so that they will be patient and they forgive their chance and they be able to forgive some of their chance where they be able for votes. But me not see much problem actually with woman them they face. But from other people they who they hear, they say some woman them they not been given symbol. So woman them when independent candidate because of the PR system that they make for let them loss. So now that then thing and we get for if we then get for put things in order, this PR system make them find a ways and means where go make the independent candidates themselves make them be included because we all na Sierra Leonean. If we want aspects of people then left outside, then they bring grudges and go good for the smooth running of the nation. For the whole, I want for thank God because everybody they go about in business. When I been go Nigeria, I been see that kind of system there. Even though problem they were after the election, all man go about. In fact, while in Nigeria, before election, they ever see people that they sit down inside motor and they talk about election, like how we can argue now. They know they do them. So I believe say if we practice then kind of thing and the way election come, time for politics, we all do politics. After politics, we forget about politics, we go about with business. What we're able for contribute to the nation in build one, because for we own future, we picking them tomorrow. We all are government, we all are part of the government. We get a different role they play.
Continue firstly with we. Make I quickly bring in Shaka Imansari Jr. Shaka, you don't follow the political landscape. You don't see how the elections turn out. We don't see the current challenge where we face with as a nation. That the main opposition political parties we for share the governance space with the government is saying we're keeping out because we feel like the government is illegitimate. The results announced not reflect the voices of the people and rig and all of that. But many people don't come and say the bigger picture here is Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans. We need development for go before for make every salon person be okay. We don't see that they happen at all at this point. There is still that challenge. There is still that political quagmire we're in as a people between the APC and the SLPP and political parties. Now, what's your assessment?
Thank you, Samuel. Political boycotts of such nature not just start now. Even in recent years, as recent as weeks ago in India, the opposition parties them threatened for boycotts Prime Minister Modi in government. And you check back in Albania in 2017, you go back to Serbia, who say political parties them with the opposition don't come up and give boycott reasons them for avoid government for their own reasons. But Samuel, every boycott comes with a demand. For make people boycott a political activity, they must bring a substitute demand when I aim other party them for here to, in that case the government. With elections, I want to be very frank, say the boycott at the moment not they aid both the economic and the national progress of the country as it is. And before the boycott, the opposition APC, they'd already then had a position so they don't bring several demands before the very elections. And all those demands were not met. So now a backlog of challenges that will bring come after the elections. One of them was they're saying the whole of ECSL for resign, which sometimes the demands were very fast to carry in the hand. They're too plenty in your hand for go it. So we begin get a backlog of demands, none of them not they meet to you request. Then they swell up now you hand, you end up forget the bigger one. And the bigger one is saying, no, we want a rerun of the elections. Well, in a larger perspective, that will be very challenging for we as a state. So the overall assessment between the government and the opposition. Now, a two-set factor approach,
which are
wherein government, like Mr. Kokabi earlier say, I'm not going to say they go for open because they don't make efforts for open up. We don't hear ministers and other people they make statements for request your position for come on board. So let them continue in that perspective. Then the opposition APC as well get for make the demands them reasonable. The government puts them demands within the baskets with the nation able for carry. Now, we say we will run in an election of Sierra Leone. You see how they go mean for an entire state? And I think they also not for me don't boycott in parliament. Make I give two simple examples of what happened. There is an author who studied 3 countries them on boycott. We describe them as competitive authoritarianism. Wherein people they fight for that same power. If they want to get it, they use USA ingots with sharp. Now, what if APC would have gone into parliament, put forward their demands, make themselves very physical and present at the parliament, and then if they don't listen to them at that point, they can back off. They've already been members of parliament, given them, they've been weaponized to for me and say, waiting they go on for say. Other than right from the onset, then put now the entire councils go dormant. Now the ordinary citizens them way go benefit from then local developments and they go lose them. You come out today, you come to the mayor level, how the city go be run, and they go be very obviously wrong for we as citizens for go back to a one-party system. In this case, not so we want go one-party system. Now one set of people want use that instrument stay for correct the problem, which is the opposition. The opposition want correct the problem. We agree, we all frankly they reason out with the opposition, and we believe that they have genuine concerns. That will be very frank. But then concerns then they, with the weighty solution when they come in, let's say SLPP backs, okay, we say no agree. Let's put it on the table so we'll get a rerun. And APC win, and SLPP say, no, we self not go agree, we want a rerun. How long we go there in that kind of scenario there as a nation? So we get for move past that. For move past that, true leaders of a nation, not they look at only because they hold positions of power, but they also they look at what in this country go mean if
the implications of the actions.
Yes. Like you another reference to Wina Salona. You know, Solomon Berra, all of his time, he denied it not lost that election. All of his time. But he beget the courage, the strength for congratulate Ernest Bai Koroma. He did. He only did because he thought of one thing. The nation. Okay, Samuel Kama, ECSL announced that result, and that's what we take for granted. That's the result. What ECSL announces. And ECSL don't say you don't lose. All right. Get your MPs to parliament, get your mayors to work, and then begin to negotiate who side will reach at a point. At the end of the day, the ruling government as well, inside their consciousness, then quite no say, this is equilibrium. This kind of government, no one man or they take all the party go. It's not possible. Because just with the proportional representation system alone, provide a larger space, may all man meet up. Now, even districts the way the other party no plans win. For example, you've never got SLPP MP with input local. It's always APC. But now, either it is, you get 1, 2 APC SLPP representatives in the put local, meaning we don't get plenty avenues for meets. The PR system now one of the front advantage that the way give the nation, wherein constituents them or districts them, when I be one party be they take them all day, now you see however I be, the minority party say get the that constituency. So when I get side for meet. And we also did say, we civil societies leaders them, we also don't contribute very wrongly into solving this problem. Simply because we fail for be factual, fail for be honest. Let's be honest and tell APC say no, this boycott is not right. No, just be frank once in our lifetime. They will also be frank say no, Mr. Government, you cannot take it all. Come to the table. I mean, let President Joseph show we say a good leader. Make him personally invite Samura Kamau people in the State House for a dialogue. Samuel, trust me, if he can do such a thing, it will change this entire situation. Imagine who said President Bio, they pull in not a peace conference, not a summit, a personal invitation. Okay, Samura Kamau not able to concede the defeat and give. Say congratulations. Okay, he has not done that. What about President Bio? Let him say take the other hand now. Let him extend an olive branch and say, you know what, you did not congratulate me, you're my brother, we'll go to the same church, we'll live the same life, come to State House, let's sit and talk. Trust me, no matter what Samura Kamau will do, he will go there.
Let ask you this question. You talk about Solomon Bewa not accepting defeat. You know, but the issue of elections, deniability, we also say almost only wonder we don't lose election or they accept not send for the accepted and lost election. You go back to the late Kaba and Kerifa Smart, there was a tussle that would have win. Oh, you come back to Berewa and Aneskroma in 2007, there was a tussle. Come back to 2012. And Eskroma and Julius Marabio then as a candidate. There was 2018, Samurai again and Mother. There was this, and again 2023. So it appears this is a dangerous path. We don't go through all this while in a democratic journey. How do we handle that? Because in every election, there's always a winner and a loser. But Democrats, they don't say, you will lose. You can be the biggest winner if only you're able to accept the defeat, muster the courage, accept defeat, and contribute to nation building. But we don't get the losers in the overtime. Or losers that we don't get at the one that we say, no, we never lost. We never lost, and never lost this election, a winner, but then the results, they speak otherwise. There is a government formed, and they go on with the normal business. So how has that affected our democracy and development over time?
Okay, the reason why I rule out Solomon Berewa specifically because he took a phone and called the opponent. So a grumble corner now, a grumble fraud now, at least demonstrates, say, congratulations. Right. For others, we're not ever able to do that. There need for look at three parts of human power. Power number one, the strongest man on earth are the one will get patient, both biblically and Quranic. They all give with that evidence there. Say, not so you will really get the energy for turn over the stone and take the highest might. Now you will hold your heart and agree to certain things. For make we able to choose that one day. Samuel, one of the worst electorates who gets at the world, we're electorate than gullible. There's so much gullible that we political leaders them can end up for lie and the people them not for telling the actual truth, even who said they lost election. Because they can feel say, when they come up open and tell the electorate, the people they vote for them say, no, you know what? We indeed lost this election. You understand? Then feel say that they go give them a backlash with them support base. That is number one. Yeah. Secondly, 2012. Yes, this 2012 elections specifically, where President Bio first win. With me, 2018 where you win, yes. Where you win practically, because at that time I be take part directly into the electioneering. Two things to observe.
Which one?
I observe one. Even the day when they end up for call results, if the political parties they don't know it's in attain the call result, they still they develop a lie for convince their supporters for still stand by them. That's dishonesty. One. Two, even who side and they don't acknowledge, they don't know now say we don't lost this election, then they find way forget them people them quite involved with a thematic lie will go remain at the aid for another support. Simply because with political parties them, we leaders they not get message for campaign with. If they get a message, an ideology, they get something they convince the ordinary people. Believe you me, the people they vote for you based upon that policy, based upon that ideology, and not based upon that lie.
So you think it's a strategy for the political parties?
So keep their base. Because, Samuel, let's look at it this way. President Bio won 2018 election with just one message. Free education. Nothing else. This one, you know, gets a solid message where we'll compete with free education. No politician ever give a message in a salon with free education. Wherein people they see what they want and you give them. So if you don't give them what you want, then now let's come to these very elections. I attended both manifestos launching.
Right.
SLPP, they said the big 5 changes. Look how large are they? And now don't forget watch them if they're going to achieve that. And what did APC bring in the campaign stream? What did they tell us? Nothing I can remember. It's One Nation manifesto.
Yes.
Nobody not able to pick out certain things. So even the ordinary citizens that support them political party not even know what's in the manifesto for supporting them for a policy. That's my point. Other than if we on citizens then be the votes on policy based, on ideas, on ideology. When you candidate the loss, they keep that policy and that idea with some, not in baggage, not in negotiation weapon. But if the citizen come for vote, it only they vote because you're not by Kuruma, it only they vote because you're not Madabio, it vote because you're not Samura Kama, and you don't get anything in hand for all as a baseline why they give you the vote. So anything you tell them now they take are not based on policies. So for me to solve that problem about denial, make politicians learn for campaign on ideologies, on policies, on subjects where achievable. So at the end of the day, even when in people and they feel the loss, then they feel satisfied, say, no, we have an idea, but that idea then I not sell.
I know some Sierra Leoneans we argue at some point that, I mean, they can only vote based on the agendas, the policies being put forward by the different political parties, and they would make a choice for would I get a better plan, would I get a better proposal for push alone. But again, majority of Sierra Leoneans, can they make that choice? Well, one way go tell you say, mina party, AYV are born, now they are meeting people that they die. And we know these are now they're in the majority. They are colorblinded, whether it's you come with the best of policies or not. They don't care. They've already made a choice. Whether I don't get candidates or not, they've already made a choice whose party they get for go vote for.
Well,
so how do we deal with these issues? Because at the end of the day, it should be Sierra Leone. So when we get a governance challenge, as we do right now, how do we handle them?
Sammy, you just don't define the baseline for the denial. The baseline for the denial, where person lost election as alone. Now, because right from the start, in electorate, they don't get a reason for go votes. It's just that person. If not to the person, nobody else. And for me to solve that, I not want to agree on illiteracy, on elections. I not want to agree on illiteracy. Why I don't want to agree on illiteracy? With political parties and get the responsibility for even simplify the manifestos and make people, now social media don't they,
right,
and provide a wider education for the people. But they are not even willing. The parties are not willing, no. They are not willing to campaign on ideologies. You for vote simply, Samuel, because you and your great granny, they were in this party. Nothing else. So for me to solve them problem then they make we get this civic education. Thank God, I think President Bio don't turn that into a ministry. They don't combine that into a ministry. Where we will begin give a large scale amount of civic education about even what our electoral rights them be. Because rights then so man can feel say, now for just go vote. Where can our money go? No. Part of your rights as a citizen for vote, you got to even understand on which grounds where you vote. Like them example the way you give, say, then go one for go through policies or ideologies. Samuel, you know, say it's a citizen's right to abstain from voting.
Right.
Do you know?
Tell me.
No, it is. It is. If you don't think you have a reason to vote, you can abstain. And the way out the election be the goal, like some of me personally, to be frank with you, I abstained from voting. Man and God, I did not. Yes, it's my heart, man and God. I simply because I have to be convinced as to a reason to give my votes. You understand? I might vote for presidential, and maybe the mayor in my community, you know, get a reason, so I can abstain from him. And I might vote for presidential, and then I come to my councillor. Wherein, I don't even think, say, you can convince me to deliver. So, I can abstain from that vote day. But nonetheless, until Sierra Leone gets a baseline of ideological electorates that will go votes based upon ideas, based upon conceptuality, not because no other man am uncle, and na APC ide, na APC are for vote. The other one am anti, na SLPP ide, na they are for vote. When we change that narrative, we'll get a better electorate.
John, I'll come back to you. You know, there are challenges, and as a nation, we're challenged. You know, whilst the main opposition is saying this government is illegitimate, now, the people are suffering. Sierra Leoneans, I mean, we're not seeing, because in any democratic state, the government needs a viable opposition. We go scrutinize what they do. We go provide checks and balances to the excesses of the government, and also correct them, keep them on the toes that the people are watching. We're also looking at these are the things you're doing that are not right. You have to do it straight. But if we're not going to have that for the next 5 years, as the main opposition is putting it, except for Honorable Mohamed Bangrou, who went to Parliament and subscribed to the oath, what country are we going to run? What democracy are we nurturing?
You see, sometimes a fine for make we look at issues and be more pragmatic.
Right.
You know, as I sit here, there are certain things that way to go around the head. You know, what if? What if? What if? And sometimes that what if they lead to some further discouragement.
Right.
So, make a come back to being very pragmatic. Now, when you look at Sierra Leone, what thing would they go through? You know, somebody could even beg a question. You know, if you ask Samora directly, when you give this instruction, say, make nobody know cooperate, who do you feel to say you punish? You do it because you want hot SLPP, or you do it because you convince it that the only way this will make you exercise you concern or demonstrate your concern. But either or, I think say the one that will go suffer most are the people of Sierra Leone, because Parliament don't get any checks and balances now. So again, we go back to the point. Say, Dr. Samura Kamara, think Sierra Leone. Try for them at the good side of history and try for correct the situation. I'll go back to what my colleagues and all don't say. You see, one thing when we believe, this is not an opportunity for me to press reset. You raise a couple of questions, we talk to Shaka, that successive government, successive people who will lose election, they always cry foul. This is not an opportunity for make we sit down and do an sort of overhauling evaluation of why. There is this infamous statement by Dr. Christina Top. I'm not going to talk now. I'm not going to talk now. But that was an infamous statement.
Right.
When one old district, the nullifier, in statements, not that, you know. So what did I try to say? Again, go back to even 2012. You know, go back to 2018. They always cry for, but what is the reason? Because most of we leaders then, they are, they call them transactional leaders. They are not transformational leaders. Transact, not just, if I win, I will give you this. But what is your plan for overhaul the country, for transform, the ministries, for transform the MDAs, for transform the lives of ordinary Sierra Leoneans? What is your plan? Most of them not get them. So now part of the problem that. So as we brother they say, now in their interest for cause anarchy, for cause chaos, because then they thrive. What's not going to ask them say, what's your plan? Because now all man busy, make we talk to our force for XYZ. But the questions we will for really ask, we're not able to ask them. So far, I think say, we'll go back to the drawing board. President Bill, I said this earlier and I will say them again, and get the main reason why if we reach out and get an inclusive nation. Because now in the daddy. And if you get us with small chamot the host not sweet. So you get for swell a small thing, small pride, and reach out. But to my knowledge, I think that the enforced statement that we make, where AYV they interview him as they declare a winner. A first statement was in the reach out to a brother. I think he called him brother Samura Kamura, for make them go team up for run the country. So maybe Pakamara not be listen or watch that news day. Maybe make it take the phone now and call him directly. So there are certain steps they can take. I also trust the vice president, where he gets a wealth of diplomatic experience. Make a pull from that. Academics can go say, look into your toolbox, look into your networks, see what he can do for bring the opposition there on board. He is a smart man. Napos we don't work extensively outside of Sierra Leone, so he must get wisdom. Make it involved in other networks then for me to reach out to. But again, make Samora not feel to say because all man reach out to him, he is that so important. He is very important as opposition leader. Make a use this opportunity for create the way for make maybe in the next 5 years it go stand a better chance.
John, the question now is, I've always asked these questions now in recent times when we get conversations around reconciliation, especially between the two, political stalwarts now. That who should take the lead? Because almost everybody is a suspect. I mean, in the dialogue, the religious leaders, are suspects. Very recently, I also saw a tweet from Dr. Samura Kamara saying the guy, they are also for speak truth, they need to speak, they need to say the truth. Instead, they'll play around. You, the CSOs, are suspects. Even amongst yourselves, there is always fights and allegations, counter-accusations and all of that. Who should take the lead? Us, the media, of course, they would say, oh, they're green, oh, they're red. The branding is everywhere. Everybody appears to be a suspect.
You see, few years back, we get this quagmire, when we look at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, other than really get the moral grounds for lead such a process.
Right.
And after a series of consultations, we come to a compromise. We say, first and foremost, the Sierra Leonean process, so the Sierra Leonean leadership, but they can work alongside internationals. So maybe we can employ that same strategy. They're
also suspects. You follow the political debates. International communities have also been accused.
Yeah, but not a blanket accusation.
Yes.
Right. You can look for one that way sympathetic to opposition, bring them on board. One that way sympathetic to the ruling party, bring them on board. One that way tend for being neutral, bring them on board. The objective is to find a solution, not to cast blame. This is where leadership comes in. It's not about blame game. This is about way forward. So not they can't for say, now you do this, now you do that, no. And again, the demands them.
Yeah.
May they get a human face. May the demands them get a human face. And also, the one way that they make the demands then too, may not just dismiss them, their demands then they. There be some room for dialogue. So basically, the future of Sierra Leone, within at this junction, it is in the hands of the two people also. President Julius Maada Bio and opposition leader Dr. Samura Kamara. If Sierra Leone for move to the next phase, for be a paradise, and then two people also for pave the way for me to get to that point. Without them, history go hold them accountable. and then picking them, go get for explain what in the papa be do, or what in the papa not be do. So basically, all we can do for now is just appeal to their conscience, appeal to the supporters. I also want to say something. Again, at the risk saying this, because some of we don't get so much out of the international community. We'll get a base where people they look up to. We get a model. But I go say this clearly that sometimes it is possible that even that tweet, not to the somebody tweet, it possible say that they want the way they around them. Because then she say, Pastor Mura, definitely he will be okay. But then the concern about their own faith now, what's in their own faith? No. So sometimes, I know they say that will happen, but that might be one school of thought. That the one they were around them, then the creator kind of system say, no agree. But make it look beyond the people in there. Make it look at Sierra Leone as a whole and see reason. Say, okay, maybe put that across as these are your people, these are their concerns. Put them across, not hide behind the shadow. Put everything on the table. So I think moving forward, yes, we're not going to just left all things at APC and SLPP there. There might be the need for one or two external or outsiders. No, say external. There might be outsiders. Make we all come see how we can work on it. Some of we don't work for 20 almost years in the civil society space. Trust me, we don't work with so many governments. Government go, government come. One minister tell me one thing. He said, John, the luxury way una get, we not get them. Because you are always there. Government they go, government they come. But fortunately, some of you they look at back say, no, I think say it's also time for make we say they consider for the go now. Make the other young one they come up now.
Just quickly, John, before I bring in Anne-Marie again. Now, I asked Honorable Dr. Bernadette Lai this question that whether or not the SLPP stand a better chance, because going back to 2012, the SLPP issued similar statements that they would boycott parliaments and local councils unless that the supporters that wouldn't be arrested at Kenema were released because police may say, riots can take place and all of that. So I asked her about how did you handle that? You issued similar statements. You threatened you were going to boycott parliament and local councils. But at the end of the day, we saw you guys in parliament. We saw you partake in the governance. How did you handle that? So if they had that experience, would it be, would it be to their advantage for, say, okay, at this point, let me come back. Let me see how we handle our own. Things not been go on with what we're getting. But at the end of the day, we participate. We went to parliament. We go on with the governance style. How do we use that experience for handle situation like that?
That was 2012.
Yes.
Now, I bring one variable into this conversation where and nobody exists that much. The diaspora variable. Now, if you look at this past election, the role the diaspora then play is huge. Now, they get money they send because most of them, the Abobse, as they win, then they move come back. But they're not that funky again, not that okay as long every day. So they only find opportunity. And one easy way for come, now through governance.
Right.
So now this result don't be this way. So it is possible that most of them are the whole Dr. Samura to ransom. Say, look, again, not just speculation.
Right. Because
we also see one social media post when a delegation come with some money after election. So they begin look at the thing today. Again, I say this with all due respect. If I hurt somebody, I'm sorry, but not in the interest of Sierra Leone. Make we talk to the people. So Dr. Samura Kamara think Sierra Leone. Diaspora then get alternative. We were there, not get no alternative. So see how you can help we. And this is the point where we want for drive on. That variable, nobody exists by then. And now a major player. And then lastly, part of what they cause all these problems, now this thing then call incumbency.
The power of incumbency.
The power of incumbency. How we would neutralize that? How we would neutralize power of incumbency? Check all the previous elections. That variable, that incumbency variable, it play big time. In most cases, if opposition lose, it use them. And if the party where they in power win, they will also use them against them. So how can we neutralize that variable? So I think what we for look at now is make we look at a system make we evaluate as a country, as CSOs, what we don't go through. Make we evaluate as APC, what you don't go through. SLPP, what you don't go through. Even some district them, make them go through some system. And then lastly, make we not wait till the next election for talk about how for vote, party manifesto. Make the party then begin reach out on an annual basis. Annually update your manifesto. Talk to the people. So let there be some communication with the political parties and the people. So far, it's like every 5 years. So I think, in a nutshell, they get a lot of work for do. And CSO, you get every right for describe we and how did they continue for describe we. That's something spirit. I think it make a lot of sense. but still, you get few among them, right. Among we where we can look and say, no, let's work together. We all man go to sympathize here with there, but the bottom line is let's work together and see what is good for Sierra Leone and what is good for our people. The people of Sierra Leone don't show say then committed. I will end with one story from one young man at Kabbalah yesterday. We say in name, the last election was let we go. As the moment, let we go. But this past election, he said no. We post a meter, he tell hey, meter boss. He not go. He said he got both parties then teach them, but he not go. Because he believes na peace in the preach. So basically, there are few people at community level, at district level, at national level, where they focus on how do we move forward as a nation.
All right, Anne-Marie. Now, the myth could be fact over time, but that women and Bikini and then they suffer most. I mean, they bear the brunt of any crisis in any country. So as it is right now, waiting at the tracks that we for lay as we look for ways now for say, okay, look, the part you go to for work now, another one also we need for bring everybody on board. The winner, the loser, for make salon go before.
Yeah, apart from the winner and the loser, the people they're very important. Myself don't they listen social media. One woman be send message, he threaten Samora or say, Samora, now we vote you inside, and we say na so and so. If he come up here, we say we go show you Pepe. Me I listen that what he said, and I talk and I play something together audio they safe. So what would they talk so? Say Samora or Mother, the followers they're very important. Before the election, other person been talking back. He say, Mother, if you come up here, if you know what he said, what you go pass on. So the people and the leaders, they say they get for listen, and they listen to the supporters them. And me don't hear where people and they say, Alex have na dog, then they lead their party, then they vote for that dog there. Can you imagine? We be say, like what me brother be they talk say, partisan business. This thing don't day from time immemorial. For say, we say me great grandpa been there. If me great grandpa been there on side, that side they, they do well. I for still continue for the day. So me once let them go, and we all, because as we sit down, I also would represent the civil society, because civil society self, some of them, then they accuse we say, some of we they take side. All kind of accusation. Me sometimes they listen, because they say when you listen, they learn more. So me, I suggest even the governments where they write now, may they not just concern on the young people them, the people that way vote for them or the one way they need a SLPP, but may they go across the country for talk to people there, for educate them, for say we all now one country. And another thing, where make back somebody, he make that comment day. He say, it better where they were they not win. Because what in them not plan for can't do we. So now make we not give them, we don't give them. So all the statements then they don't show say the people then get power. The people themselves, they're very, very important. Because Educated people, then they behind the scene. People then they when lawyers them, then they behind the scene. People then they when people when they na high politicians then. Some man not they politics, but then get ideas them. They're not able for advice for good. They're all they point. So we need for come on board for make sure let's Leone. The thing where the pace where Sierra Leone don't set, the name where Sierra Leone don't make, may that name they continue. Long not poil, not like say they go rub sheets by you like fall, white fall, say where them praise them, you go rub that something dirty black pine in that in whiteness. Long not turn like that. The woman them we need for consider. You woman where they listen me. We all need for consider, we need for educate. Now this one, sometimes one get for let's go. We all know we're able for say power. If you want not let's go, everybody, you hold that in sometimes go chair this flag here. And you know go finally chair this flag. We get for somebody get for members say, okay, la left and game. Make a left and game. And see, because of the people they love, because of the love I get for the people from my country. But the people there, when they bien, then party they are back, then self they need sensitization. Because even the leaders there, if you get people the way they stand behind me, then people then they say, Anne-Marie, if you not do this, we will come up behind you. We go show you say, we go show you Pepe. Then how for do? Sometimes I want for do something, sometimes I want for go. They say, okay, don't undermine me. So when they talk about Samora, we need to consider the supporters them. Tomorrow, let them know go talk say, hey, that man they don't come up behind there. The same thing. Sometimes some people they go talk say, Mother, hey, he said he don't win now. What did they go behind for? What did they go beg there? Now they for can't beg you. You get for swallow the pride. I then tell there. Forget what then can advise them they. Call the people there. Call everybody together. If you not papa. If I be papa, he get for love everybody. You don't go for the one side. Now you don't win, you don't then have the power now. So call everybody together, call the opposition supporters then, talk to them, say, this now politics, the game don't play. So do you all come together and not build salon? So I think if we do that, we go fine.
Shaka, you know, I need for bringing we followers them. We get hundreds of messages on Facebook, and I got to take as many as time would permit me for. But just before I go to the messages they need, you know, Anne-Marie just make something very clear that the party followers, supporters, sympathizers, they're also very heavy when it comes to decision making for the party leaders. Then, so it appears. Sometimes they set the agenda for the leaders. So a side say, would also say a party people they say, oh no, if Dr. Samoa, if you take this, if you agree that, so things like that. And we also see, almost all the comments being made by those elected under the ticket of the APC. Don't tell you, see, this decision not for participate comes from the people. So that the people that tell us let them not participate because they don't thief the election at the end. So how big of a factor is that in the game right now?
You get three types of support system within the electorates who vote for APC. You get the one them where now the very APC weaponize them. You get the one where they weaponize the one and they when now the diaspora factor like what Paco Kabili say. Then you get the one where they make the rules. Now, so APC, they function as it is. Now, that ordinary citizen, we ready for go the extra mile for defend waiting APC believe for. Now, the APC as an executive, they weaponize their mentality, they weaponize how they think, they weaponize their approach. You get certain fellow Sierra Leoneans same way they overseas, where they dictate the terms as a result of their own selfish interest for work and other things in the future. But let's come now to who that Dr. Samora Kamara is. Dr. Samora Kamara now get the mandates, the power, and now get the instructions within 1995 amended 2021 Constitution give the APC. when that Constitution Day, Dr. Samura Kamara empowered by. We in both the flag bearer and the chairperson, the flag bearer and the leader of the party. We give them the ultimate power for talk to in people and for understand a point. If I were Dr. Samura Kamara, all these players from the support base, the diaspora base, they're not for the influence the way I think. But before I say that, make APC people who they listen to me, not just say, so the turn about some civil society. Make I agree, first of all, say, now make I talk earlier, Samuel, APC came to the elections with a backlog of demands. None were met. And you'd already swollen the patients because they don't demand for several things where they're not able to meet up to. So that simply means for say, the very APC gets things the way they want, make them do for the way they don't ever do. Example, like I say, they asked the CSLO for me to resign. That never happened. They told every civilian they will not go into the polls if that doesn't happen. At the end of the day, that did not happen. So it means the APC bring forward backlog of demands the way they're not able to answer them, which is bad. Now,
so you're saying their demands are not reasonable, but their concerns are genuine?
Honestly, the APC as a political party and running into these polls has genuine concerns that should be addressed. But the demands that should reflect to those concerns are not, they're ambiguous. I mean, for example, all the people who lost election at Salon, they no one they rerun the elections for them, my brother. And APC is saying we have to rerun the elections. How possible is that? So, no bring demands them, we go fool and people they are able to negotiate on them. That's the point.
So how much of an education do we need, civic education, for the people of this country? Because understanding that at the support party AYV, the chances are party AYV would win or lose. And when party AYV loses, waiting for B, the role of the people, not for support party AYV for accept and re-strategize for next elections, but in this case, if the people are telling the APC people, the APC elected officials or the APC as a party, will not go participate, and the people, the APC executives and the elected people, as they claim, they say, oh, we are listening to those who voted.
No, may I disagree.
Make I tell you something, Samuel, to be frank with you.
Go ahead.
Not to the Sierra Leone and APC people and tell MPs and Samura Kamara they're not for take part in government. How you don't know? Fortunately, I will take part largely on the PR education before elections. So that maybe don't give me a tour around the country where I don't hear me but put in my ace. Then after the elections back, we'll do another tour. So to Freetown, I want to talk about too, because Freetown is not Sierra Leone. Now, when you go to the rural places, the ordinary citizens and they tell you, say, oh, no, nothing again by election, no. They are done and dusted with the elections. I will tell you for certainty, even within Freetown, take a pilot of 50 Sierra Leoneans. For obvious reasons, make them 50 Sierra Leoneans they be APC, and ask them if they know whether they make that decision for make APC not go to parliament. Categorically, they'll tell you no. The information only come out after they make that decision. This is some of the dishonesty what we want to politicians and for they play with. Because you cannot say it is the people that tells you, when did you hold that consultation? If the APC wants to hold a consultation about their membership decision, is through a conference. Did they all such a, let me not talk book small, because that's not a book mandate. Because if they talk saying that them, you know, like I said, they get genuine concerns, but they also have to be honest as to how they approach the concerns them. If APC want to hold any legitimate gathering of a membership, it's through a delegate conference. Did they hold that? The answer is no.
Permits me to read a public a Facebook post from the Deputy National Organizers, National Secretary General of the APC, of Of course, one of those voted in as members of parliament. The district where I ran gave me their vote. I take those votes very seriously. People's votes are not just numbers or figures that can be played with anyhow. They represent their sweat, blood, voice, and desire, and that must be respected. Our National Constitution 1991 in Section 5, subsection 2A provides that sovereignty belongs to the people of Sierra Leone, from whom government through this constitution derives all its powers, authority, and legitimacy. It is all about the people we seek to represent. And this is the decision now. It says, I take their vote as their signature in a social contract entered into with me. Since after the announcement of the results, I have received barrage of calls, messages, voice notes, and visits from the same people, all saying the same thing. Don't go to parliament just yet. In fact, as I type, I continue to receive persistent calls and messages. This is what the Deputy
I read that.
National Secretary General, who is also a lawyer.
Yes.
Can you just say something? Don't go to parliament.
Yes.
What?
Yes. I mean, this is all
just
saying
that
the
same
same thing. Don't go to parliament just yet.
Just yet. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. This is like a, it's more of, we are hopeful. Don't go to parliament just yet. They're not saying don't go to parliament.
Yeah, but Mr.
So they have some demands.
So that is contingent.
So let them
Are we
organize.
assuming that not yet is contingent upon the demands being made?
That's, in my opinion, yes. Because
with the word not yet, they will go, but not now.
Not now. So, I mean, we'll go back. We could talk back to people.
Yes.
We could leave the English.
Important.
But basically, I'm very much hopeful. Again, I mean, like that young gentleman, now one person, I believe, say, one part the young one, where one would change parliament.
Right.
It get a mishap the last 5 years.
Right.
I believe, say, but I hope it is sleep and dream. You look forward for go back in the parliament, for go perform, go do what he for do. It go be on fear for make, because of the Samura Kamara alleged say, there's still election, then deprive her from exercising what him they look forward to. So basically, there are few others like that. So again, as I say, I'm very hopeful. So now the Timbos and the others, may they reach out to the leadership of the APC and make it clear what they demands. Because as of now, to my knowledge, I don't see any constructive demand yet. I might be wrong. But, for say, we run the election, it's out of it. No, I mean, it's almost out of it.
More messages.
So basically, we are very hopeful.
So, Shaka, you were saying, quickly.
No, I still want to. Timbo is a lawyer.
Yes.
And the APC constitutions provides for its membership where they should make such decisions. And now that they've taken this decision by phone calls and other reminders from their own electorate, did the electorate provide them what their demands are as well?
I don't know.
No. Then get them then get them demands already.
Yes.
And trust me, let me tell you, Samuel, I want to be frank, me and this may God wagger for women.
Go ahead.
The demands where the opposition they put forward, huge than even the concerns. And for make people able to negotiate at the table, one day all they come on halfway. If they able to come halfway, then the government come halfway, then we'll reach to an equilibrium point. But for say they're going to overrun the entire elections, okay, when they will do the entire elections, are they going to rerun all those MPs elections as well?
Any guarantee they say they're going to accept the result?
And we
That's
think those elections should be done within 6 months.
That's it. And what if the other party
Oh,
would
they're
they
asking for
also
that to be
accept?
done within 6 months.
Yes, by law.
Who pays for that?
So it's challenging anyway. The demand is very challenging.
Well,
All right. Let me run through some messages quickly. For una we don't send on our messages, I want for big part in that I'm not go able for read the one that way too political. I will only take those we will help for unite this country, those where they speak to the issues, also the one that where they fan the flame. I never go through that them at all. So I will know. But also time no permit me for go through all of our messages tonight. Like I mentioned earlier, we get hundreds of them now with Facebook page. And time not to West Party at all for allowing me to go through all of those messages. So I apologize for that. Kakuda Bangura is saying, Samuel Kamara has always asked a simple demand. That is, the ECSL should produce the R forms, period. From those, if he wins or loses, then he would decide. AYV, do una self they play, this is not too clear. Gonna judge to saying voting based on tribal affiliations and not on policies for a better Sierra Leone for all has been a downfall for all Sierra Leoneans, including the same voters who have been blindly voting their parties, and this is the eventual outcome. Can we say that Sierra Leone has developed using this voting dispensation? I guess you know the answer. The way the majority of Sierra Leoneans think is the actual reflection of the miserable state of the country. It is one of the key responsibilities of government to shape the minds of the people. Sierra Leoneans are becoming more aware nowadays about their basic welfare, and this can be achieved by the power of their votes. Citizens' welfare is paramount, and their votes must be fairly and correctly counted, and they have the right to raise their concerns peacefully and amicably at any given time. That's from Lawrence Bangura. These guys are talking as if they are, okay, Simba, I'm not going to go to Sheka to your God Almighty does. Okay, Sheka will not be able to answer that question, so I'm not going to read it. Emmanuel Braima is saying, no dishonest leader would lead our country again. We're done with elections for at least 4 years. Okay. Look, okay, Jalo Omar, I'm not going to go through that. Lovetta Janet is saying the demand has been mentioned to ECSL. James, I'm not going to read your message, please. Lawrence Bangor is saying again, I agree. I think 5 years. This is a law in all the sober countries. You for reside in a country for at least 5 years for citizenship and plenty other benefits. Michael Indove Lagawo Morovia is saying the APC. Okay, there's okay. I'm not going to go through that. I'm sorry. Mustafa Conte is saying one of the problems that you people are only blaming. We're not blaming anybody here. John Kabia is saying we cannot continue to sweep and toss the debt under the bed and expect to have good smell. Throughout Sierra Leone's history, we always condone bad things. SLPP boycotted 1973 by election leading to the general elections. There were no steps taken to ameliorate that political turbulence. Since then, SLPP stopped to exist as a political party in Sierra Leone. The party went underground and began to boil like a molten magma. Resurfaced only in 1996. It was obvious that the June 24 general elections lacked transparency, accountability, and inclusivity, and so the outcome was not accepted by APC supporters and even the EU observers mission. Okay, that is from John Kabia. Indolo Langba is saying the only way to settle this impasse is for APC to go to court to justify their claims. Okay, Alusain, thank you. If your vote is not counted, how would you become a member of Parliament? Santos Kamara is asking. Solomon Bia is saying those who are supporting APC in this are not, okay, I'm not going to continue that message. Mustafa Conte is saying, why can't the ECSL save the people of all of this stress and produce the data, police station by police station as requested? Okay. Alusain MSO, this concern has been noted. We had the ECSL Director of Communications, Raymond Jones, saying they're processing your payments and you should give them some time because I think you're thousands in number, please. That's according to a conversation we had here. Tijan M. Kaika is saying, Samuel, I really want APCNs to please accept the results and work for the interest of us, the masses in the country, because opposition parties are always serving as checks and balances to the ruling government. Please, for Betse Saloon, let the institution provide the result by pooling station for settle all this problem over the past. So that from Kamara Molai, Nabi Kuruma is saying, how can APCL, okay, I'm not going to continue. I think I have to hold the messages there. We have many of them, but more of them are political and they're not the help in the conversation. So we need for all them the. But make we come back. I asked John, I asked Sheka about the level of education we need, all of us in this country, the general citizenry, for able to understand what are the rules, what are the responsibilities, and what are our obligations to the state. Mm-hmm. Because it's only when we understand those things. I know for a fact that all we understand is, now we right for do this, now we right for do that. But our obligations to the state are sometimes not mentioned. And how do we measure them? Put them, how they're able for help for build the country. We don't ever talk about those things. So how much of a civic education we need in all of this?
Thank you. I think you just identified that as one of the solutions to the present problem we face. Mm-hmm. Because, civic education, we not for look at it as an event. Mm-hmm. Because if you observe, most of what happens, the elections, the campaign, everything like event.
Right.
So if we look at civic education, you're right, it goes to responsibility. I remember when I do my first handbook, the duties of a citizen and responsibilities. So it was actually essentials of human rights in Sierra Leone and the duties of a citizen. So basically, in that manual, we look at the role of citizen. Even simple things like when police they go execute a search warrant, citizens then get a role for play. So the same thing again, we too focus on government, what thing government they do for me, what thing government they do for me. But we don't look at what thing would they do. Not just for the government, but for we serve, for our communities, for we neighborhood. So basically, we need for overhaul way thinking, and that will only happen through massive education. And education in a language that people don't be able to understand. Not just for begin talking, with all due respect, election institution where they take place in our radio, but I believe in the one-to-one. The town hall meetings, they under the tree, go to people in the market, sit and have a conversation with them. May they tell you what they understand by that, and you explain to them what now the actual role of these particular people in governance. So basically, part of the challenge as a nation, the ordinary Sierra Leoneans were not the majority. They feel plugged into the governance process. They don't feel to say, when election come, I go vote.
Right.
For 5 years, I not get business. But that is not true. They get a role for play. Like now, this impasse. Take your phone, talk to your politician where you know, talk to that person where you know, say, a member of the either APC or SLPP. Engage, you get a role for play. Not just say, pass them go you na AYV on a television or on a radio. That is small contribution. Now your village, now your community. It go a long way when you add that together. When you aggregate that, now in the little national peace and cohesion.
But do we also, as a nation, have a platform for actually create an environment where the ordinary Sierra Leonean, whether na Mami Fatu Dongyanda, Pasori Dongyanda, can actually come up with your suggestion as to how things should be addressed? For example, in this political quagmire, how Mami Fatu go get invoice through government to the government for make government understand say Mami Fatu self understand what's in the happen. But as they talk in Nkuanko language, how things for go. Do we have that platform where their voices can be amplified? Government listen to those voices, opposition parties listen to those voices, and us, who are considered to be major stakeholders within the governance landscape, listen to those concerns and take them up and see how they can be put into action.
The simple answer, regrettably, is no. It does not exist. If it does, episodic. Small here and there. So again, what it made a call for is let's use this opportunity, this impasse, for do an evaluation, a total evaluation of civil society. What in our role?
Right.
what we do for make we get to this point? What we not do when make we get to this point? Get the parties them back. Even the ordinary. So let's have a national conversation, in different places. So at the end of the day, we profile some recommendations to the government and the institutions then. For make we not go back to this situation, but I assure you, at the today date and everything, the next 5 years we might get the same conversation back. But so if we not go through that evaluation, for look into what are the obstacles, what are the challenges, how do we move forward? We'll get to the same thing back 5 years from now, 2028, we'll get the same conversation. So because it's like a pattern, from 2007, in fact from 1996,
Right.
96 to today, it is same conversation, same concerns, the variables, the incumbency, oh, they rogue me. But if they rogue you, when you win, you say they rogue me. So basically, I think if the government they listen to we, if the leadership that they listen to we, may they try for facilitate an evaluation process. The last time we get this CSO dialogues, we don't know what thing don't happen now. But again, I will reach out to my colleagues there. Unfortunately, one not here. But basically, let's see what we can do as CSOs. Let's have a national dialogue. If even adjust to ourselves, make we see what are the issues there. Because sometimes you see some of you don't work for long during the war, after the war to now. I go tell you, say yes, the international community gets a major role for play. But sometimes again, how do they play out? And most of the players that were into this equation, they all get one thing they call interest. But only we as Sierra Leoneans go look into the problem we Sierra Leone face with a national interest. And let's have that conversation. Make CSO then sit down together and dialogue. And fortunately, I wish I can turn small board for the listen to that conversation. Because you get the vocal APC CSOs, you get the vocal SLPP CSOs, but it's still not bad. I'm not going to hesitate for getting people in the room. What's important now? Vent out your concerns, come up with solutions.
Where have you gone wrong? Where have you gone wrong over time? I mean, the CSOs. Because say what you may, what we don't believe over time, now that if Santig able for voicing concerns, we always don't get UNA as representatives for come up with those concerns and channel those concerns to the government of the day and see how that can be addressed. For channel those concerns to the political parties so that the people can be reflected in their plans, in their actions, and whatever that they do. So where have you gone wrong over time?
Thank you for that question. I wish I could in a room with CSOs that forget this conversation. Not that we go wrong. Now the circumstance, the environment. For the one that way they study that thing, then go tell you, say, most time the leadership they react to the environmental issues, the changes within the environment. The CSO landscape, in the 90s, the CSO's landscape in the 2000s is different. The CSO will be unified and say no to junta government, no to this. It was unified. We not mean to say because we unified on that stand, it was, we all support each other. Yes, man.
Diverse perspectives.
With diversity was recognized.
Right.
But we'll get common grounds where we come together. So, but for now, why I say would they respond to the environmental issues? Now CSOs, then most times, my brother, I mean, I'm not going to talk a lot, but it's mostly a survivor. So at the end of the day, until we're able to come together, make provision, provide training, make CSO not be like a dumping place for people that we're not able to make it in life, then go get CSO. No. Some of them is even shame because we don't put your life down during the war. Some of them they go behind rebel lines, forget information and get human rights concerns. We play that role. They like today, you ask me, CSO, I go turn to first before I say yes. But still we're proud. But what can we do? Let's have that conversation. The space, for me then get, again, as I say, not to just Sierra Leone. Because now there is so much competition for funding. Funding is a major factor. CSO, the way we see not to take away the practice if you not get a job. You forget a regular job, then you give you voluntary, you give you time. Then you go be very productive. But you don't get a regular job, you don't get nothing. Then you volunteer back in a CSO. Honestly, it's not realistic. Because you need for eat, you need for put food on the table of to your wife and picking to your community. So CSO, we need to come back together. The very international community, and they now know they give money again. Then now they say, for me, they give CSO money if I produce 3-year audit report. You forget office. You forget XYZ. How many CSOs they were able for, get them kind of thing in there? How many CSOs were able for get vehicle? Were able for cover the salary for the ED? And when ED or the coordinator not get salary, we know what that mean. When they call on some side for get brown envelope, it given. So it's a systemic issue. And I look up to the one that were there before, not just in the SLPP, but even in the APC. You get very good, strong civil society leaders in the APC. Let them create that space. Let us sit together. There is so much improvement in the media landscape. Above me tell in the present leadership, there is so much improvement. And now try for stifle all man, but just create opportunities. You see yourself, you try for do more. I think we need to get that conversation back within CSO. Unfortunately, I know say at the end of the day, tomorrow I'm going to social media, I'm going to go everywhere, but I go beg them back. Because I know they say this for attack anybody.
For what's the family?
It's more about we need to come together. This is a fact. More not to say, Pastor, go talk in a room. People know. But how do we address these issues collectively? The leadership of CSOs.
Anne-Marie, now you bring the issue of the party say that they listen to the people, and the people then they demand and they tell the party waiting for them. Now, we all know when it comes to democracy, we always don't say it has to do with participation. It must be participatory. But over time, we only don't see the people participating in democracy in a salon on polling day or during elections. That is when they come, talk to we, tell we, and know how important we are and how we can participate in the process by voting. So in simple terms, the one that we don't follow governance on, they say the citizens are only viewed as voting instruments. And the proposals with governments or parties then can always come forward with, not can be reality, they're not even able to achieve them, but after every 5 years, they see them, they come back. Now, so he points now with the CC, an opposition party is saying, I would listen to the people, the one that have been voted for, they say this is what we're going to do. Then, how do we now value, how do we measure the input of citizens in governance? And when I say governance, even the opposition parties are part of the governance structure. They are very pivotal in the governance architecture of the state.
Well, like this man, the lawyer will be send information to you. I think that the Facebook. That don't show the importance of the citizens, them. But again, just like some people can kind of promise, like what your brother talk, say if I win, I do so thing for you. Then in the end, somebody go tell Anna for say, well, say na me don't win, and I be plan for do this, but now look what they don't do. So that person, he go able for put you under pressure, for saying na so and so for do. Then also, one thing we brother they talk before they continue with the city, with the civil society, we get for try for have hopes on side. Me I can always talk I remember when we don't deep on this civil society business from 1996, na me organization don't form. And Mr. Koka we there so we don't work Boku side, TRC, different side. We don't go we get meeting. I tell Solomon Barrow, I may so rest in perfect peace. I say me, where are they so? What I don't do, you not do them because me, I educate picking there and out of my own labor. You na politics money. What to make I been get that mind because nobody, I not go for let somebody go give me money in a corner for can hold me much. And even as I sit down, so I know about nobody, no politician say, now they support me organization. One thing, I get different ways where I raise funds. And I always talk, I don't know, no donor. Me organization, you know, they die. Even if today I not there, I not see me organization, they continue because I don't put things in place for that. So just like when my brother talk, Mr. Koka, we not for feel offended. We not for feel offended. We will be neutral as civil society. We get side will be the meets. Though we all get we own different organizations or parties then, but we know they show them party then they meet for address the issue, national issues. We they put party behind. And if we they go panel kind thing and I can't show myself say me na PMDC a day or me na AYV party a day. Then it's not easy for able for make impacts na that kind meeting day. And at that na in the unbox civil society because when you can see appear so they don't know say na social color na social party day. So anything when they talk they know they take us serious. It not mean to say we all belong. And he talk about rights, roles and responsibilities. We need for go round. He said, no way, no they, none of them kind thing that they, in this country, whether for educate the society or the people there, the ordinary people there, for let them know. Tomorrow, if I get for votes, not to for say that because of party. If I get for make decision, tell you say, no go yonder, no sit yonder, on which ground? Because you say they endanger the nation. But some of them, they do that, they don't know for saying they endanger the nation. And again, like we didn't talk about the ECSL, we brought our talk about the demands met. Me, and also, but like that, the what is the PR, I don't know if they paper the way they say.
The RF form.
Then come with the RF form there, let them explain her, then let people their heart cold, so that we go down with this. Because it's not go easy for let them conduct election. But if they count that RF funding, they explain her, they see the truth for say, yes, this so person I don't win, I think so all my hearts go cool. But now people they give full other policy say, well, you know, say they don't do this, they don't do that. And if they tell me say, I don't can't see water, then I don't make let them search me bag, I hold that bag. I do go with her. It's not go easy for let them believe me for say I not thief that water day. Because I not agree for let them search me bag. So some of them small things and they mean them the big demand there. I know they talk about them, but them small demands then they make them do that. So that people then the people then Sierra Leoneans say we not hard for change. We not hard for let we understand things then. If they explain to people there, they very possible say, but let them left we. I mean they talk for say RRF form. Now they don't explain that we don't see na SLPP win. Or na so if he even self NRW be, then they were able to sit on a table. You see, so right. I think that this me gets.
Okay. Shaka, so as we continue to talk about the people, in any democracy, what's in democracy advocates don't put out that the people are the winners. I mean, they should be at the center. In every decision, you, the politician, where they come for seek their interest, want for make, you get for think about the people. And now, Sierra Leone as a nation, we don't see in the last 5 years the economic crisis we've gone through as a country and as a people, and we look forward, for a betterment, for a change, for some transformative drive for be undertaken along the economic streets, job creation. The people are hungry, so all of these things. But as it is right now, you mentioned earlier the big five game changers of the SLPP. And we see some of these things are being put forward as priorities. Government say we want for create 500,000 jobs, want for the economy, human capital development, continuation, feed saloon because we're angry and all of that. And these are the things people they look forward to. Now, do you think with this action, with this attitude of the opposition, do you think that will create some crisis for the government to to thrive in these areas. In essence, for Salon people not for benefit from some of them things here.
And that, Samuel, that's where patriotism begins.
Right.
That's where we Sierra Leoneans get for the member than we, you know. And sadly, other countries, the way some of we don't live, don't see, don't get experience, you see one person, if in action, not benefits not only the nation, even in picking a house, it can get a rethink about the action there. Not so the whole nation, no. Just in siblings, in picking or in family in a house. If one or two of them grumble, say this action not go suit me, it rethink. Now, with Sierra Leone, in all the work nowadays, the problem with we actions and economic and development growth, both at governance and at national level, now that we don't buy into the belief, say, if not to me, they into governance, nothing else happen. Sadly, I see certain Sierra Leoneans, them even on social media, can celebrate if, for example, we lost any benefits at the international platform. So imagine how we can feel. Say, this benefit for cancer alone, but not cancer alone again. Instead of we mourn, instead of we feel pain, now glad is on set of Sierra Leoneans and they glad is. Now, Law agree say the 5 big changes with the SLPP present at the manufacture. Me not say not going to implement all, then they ambiguous for them, then they all 5 together without the designer can get the manifesto, we cannot read that. It will be very tough for implement all. But let us just take 3. Let's take agriculture, for example. As I speak to you, Samuel, few days ago, the Guinean government don't ban 19 products of their own products they're not for left Guinea
exported.
As to speak. No, not only Sierra Leone,
not for the export.
Not for even left Guinea, not for export and going inside. Why? Why they get the authority for even put such a ban? Because they can grow, they can plant. For Sierra Leone, even USA we can get food shortage, we still they get fellow Sierra Leoneans so we're ready for export. 2, now we look at we social security, we employment, we fall under the employment. If the government says then they can recruit 500 young Sierra Leoneans into job, during that day then we show we arise as one of the intake of the employment. A, which is practical, they don't put time into the wheels, A left for me, then put time into the machine. Now we limit now the conversation to agriculture. Not only agriculture will provide employment, but agriculture gets 2 separate benefits were inclusive of food. But how would that happen where government and opposition, when they jointly run the states, not they see eye to eye? For me to solve that kind of thing, one time I don't talk say, Sierra Leone need a consistent policy of government transformation, where one government they come out for left another government. Even if confusion not be their own of this nature, we governments they don't always used to, when their governments kind of power, all the nice projects and programs where it meets this government they do, it go shelf all aside because make it kill them and not give that government the legacy or give that government the respect. We don't see a many a time. So even usa issues no can they, then it can be a challenge. Talk less now, or we don't get this kind of stalemate, as I may like to call it. And a stalemate wherein the opposition will not want the government to succeed if they not take part in government. Because one reason why they not take part in government, that for draw back the government. That's the reason. Right. So, what we need to do, we are still one for toe the line, and I agree with, we need a national consultation of government policies there, even when this go solve. More get policies than we are in, each government will cut the power.
Like a national plan.
Yes, yes. Each government get the power, it become consistent with what the other governments meet. And follow the footsteps of them governments and they even help we for don't afford them. Because when one donor don't get a package for 10 million, for example, dollars for project A, then party A can win, it shifts the agenda to another thing, it don't stall this one no development here, it don't stock up. So it's not about the elections only, but as a nation, we need a strategic, well, better countries, they put it for 10 or 15 years plan, not even 5 years, so that one government, they enter inside another one. Other than if you just do 5 years, then it's just one government plan. So you even get 15, 20, or 30 years actual plan. Within the actual plan, you begin rolling now into phases. And if governments, they begin look development into that way, even outside problem happen of this nature, another Hamburg, because there is a plan. Whether new mayor the car, the mayor they meet a plan for the city, it meets a plan for the nation. Whether MP in the car, they don't pass plan in a parliament, so they sometimes they can review and do oversight work on. But if they can start all over again, so it's very, very easy make something of these boycotts happen. You know why the boycott that Serbia no work? You know they have what they call the Western Balkans, which comprises of 3 countries: Montenegro, Serbia, and then Albania. They began these issues about violence or thing on the elections. A party of them boycotts. But why they did not sustain the boycotts? Just like I be asked on SLPP, why they not sustain that boycott that day? It was very easy. Those Balkans, they have a national plan. In fact, they have a 45-year plan and be the rollover. So you, the president and the minister of the car, you actually they can implement within there for the country. It's not your ideology. So even if I boycott, the plan they where all mango can follow. So I think that can be a key solution, Samuel. More develop a plan for the nation. At minimum 30 years, where one person is not going to hold back the nation because he not take part. Because there's a system to go. And that does not withstand say, we will not for still make room for make amends for what we get at the country. But I'm thinking in the long term.
Right. All right. We need to wrap up this conversation. So let's start off with you, John. What's your party short? What think will be your message to Sierra Leoneans and the one that we call we leaders them for ensuring we able for demystify this crisis we're in?
Well, thank you. I send this message directly to my company Sierra Leoneans that look, close to election will all be the push with death there. Then after that, wait after election, election don't done. More go fend with small thing for pay with that day. More go move on. Let's do what we can because we're not going able for just stand still. So basically, I just appeal. Me, I believe in dialogue. Even now, I'm 100% sure. Say if Dr. Samura Kamara Sidoya, President Bios don't sue, una left them inside 30 minutes. The next thing they laugh. The next thing they go smile. The next thing solution to commodity. So basically, for now, the people already around them, and they hold them to ransom. So I just want to appeal to them all that una give the right advice to una leaders them. Make them think Sierra Leone. Make them think about the future of Sierra Leone. We all now want to move out of Sierra Leone. We want to live here happily. And it's only when we get a good governance system we will live here happily. May them work together for create jobs. May them work together for create food now we table them. Then 2 things then they ask Mr. Mansarisi. If we will get food, the people of Sierra Leone will not get problem. Look, election, I am done so. I go Kabbalah a few days back. You drive, go up, you can, everything normal. It's as if we not be ever get election. So this is Sierra Leone. And let's see how we can move on. So I appeal to the politicians them, I appeal to the supporters them, APC and SLPP. SLPP no over rejoice. APC no mourn because finally people of Sierra Leone will all win. And we'll all show the world to see we can go through election where we're not fair to safe.
All right.
Politicians they try for instigate we forfeit, but we're not good. So dear, make we all know say now we all win and now we move forward.
All right.
As a country and as a nation.
Anne-Marie?
And the message we get first for women them, dear all the presidents, anybody where they in authority, President Bio, not for stop no more 30%. If for them are all the side then, the areas, then are the schools, them, now the medical, all over, we want to foresee this 30% quota. Then at the beginning, and we will continue for campaign for women then, let them do it more and more. Because when women they society, if they go all out to make sure say it make a name, women they will look for make sure say we'll do something, we'll do and when they then also let them put this agriculture business. Because first time we hold on with the can up, with the say them with the imports, exports, then they can't rest go from Salon. And when they travel across this nation, as he said, we land there infertile. We grown fine. Me right now I get agriculture. I get up to 21 groups of women them, different side, they man they where they do agriculture. Young people there, so they say they see me na social media. They come meet me, they say they want to work with me. Right now they make farm day. We they do cassava farming, we they do petete. Boku. Even this agari processing where they talk, not a no more for the processed gari. Now make gari don't dear so much. So when they talk about the nation, the angry people, they angry. Lord try, as they don't talk about agriculture. President Bio make sure that agriculture let be number one. If he say they take all boku plans there, put an eye and you know they able for fulfill and let just like when my brother talk up. But if not two, it take them to then they serious this employment business and also this agriculture. So that we're getting in the bluff power, with other people in the bluff power. Me, I don't want for the eat imported rest. I eat we own rest. This year, I sell granate because I work granate and we don't work granates back. Boku granates. You know, when they sell on 10,000, I they tell Leones, new Leones, and they see a very people then they suffer. But me, I get them. So dear, more we go into agriculture.
Okay.
You know, young person, no can sit on a free time, the old matches box, they go sell on a street.
All right.
Go up and farm. Boku land and
thank you.
I think that will help.
Sheka, quickly.
Sierra Leone are the only country who gets, with the appeal to President Bio, make himself open more hands. Like they say, it's my own view. If President Bio can just take the phone and invite Samuel Kamara to state out for dialogue, then two no more. It go bless we all. Samuel Kamara, please, you say find a way for open up for Leone meets and be peaceful. Salon in type nodding.
All right, plenty thank you to Una, Shekabi Mansare Jr., a civil rights campaigner and an activist, Anne-Marie F. King, another activist and human rights defender. We also in the founder and executive director for Catania Women's Development Association, and John Kolka, executive director of Fumble Talk International. It's been a pleasure having all three of you here tonight. Thank you very much. And to those of you, we send our messages on the AYV News Facebook page. We appreciate your input, as we can always solicit them because they add value to the conversations that we really get now. To the one that we're not able to read, we apologize. We say sorry if the messages were too many, others were more political and not help the conversation. Until we meet again here next week with fresh topic, I have been your host. My name is Samuel Weisbango. The show has been AYV on Sunday, special SL Decides edition. And up next is our AYV Primetime News. Until then, take care of yourself and have a lovely evening.